Hey everyone, and welcome to the video. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, I've done almost all of the teams in the NHL in this series. This is the second last team, Calgary. After Calgary comes Vancouver, and then the series is over. So I've been having a lot of fun doing this series over the past couple of months. Actually, more than a couple of months. I think we're on maybe month 4 doing this. But it's a fun process for me, and I thank you guys so much for watching. If you've watched them all, I really appreciate that. These don't get a lot of views, but it's fun for me to do. So let's get into this. Here are the 5 things that I like about the Calgary Flames. Number 1, the city. I've been really lucky to visit the city of Calgary. It's on the other side of the country than me, unfortunately, so I don't get there often. I've only been there twice, but I absolutely love it. They have just like the best scenery ever. You can see the mountains from the city. You're close enough where you can drive to the mountains within, I think, like an hour. They have an awesome zoo. There's just a lot of great things happening in Calgary. And then you have the Flames, a team that's very easy to cheer for. They've, for some of the reasons that I'll list in this list, or speak of in this list, I don't want to ruin anything right yet, but it's just a wonderful city. If you've been there, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then please, if you are going to visit Canada, or if you were in Canada and you have a trip maybe planned in the future to Alberta, make sure you find time to visit Calgary. It's a wonderful city. Like I said, I've been there. Unfortunately, I haven't been to the Saddle Dome, and I would love to visit there, or maybe their new arena coming in the next couple of years. So yeah, I have so much love for that city. Number 2, the colors and logo. I think red and black will always look good together, regardless of the logo or maybe even the team. It's just a color combination that really works well together. And then you add just that hint, that spice of yellow in there, and it just it just makes everything look awesome. And this logo here, I think it's one of the most simple, basic logos there are, but it's iconic and it works. It makes sense. I love the Flames coming off the side here. It's just one of those really simple logos that's always going to work and always going to look good and represent the city of Calgary and the team very well. Number 3, 2004. In the mid-90s, as a Montreal Canadiens fan, I saw my favorite player, Patrick Roy, traded off to the Colorado Avalanche, and I went with him. As you guys know, if you've been following the channel for a while, I became a huge Colorado Avalanche fan, and during the time of 2004, I was still an Avalanche fan. Patrick Roy was coming off a couple of Stanley Cups with the Colorado Avalanche and some pretty good runs just besides the Cups, so I was pretty high still on the Colorado Avalanche at the time. But I started to kind of find myself moving back towards the Montreal Canadiens and Canadian teams specifically. Woo. And the Calgary Flames were one of those teams, because in 2004 they went to the finals against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't like the Tampa Bay Lightning. I never have, so they were always kind of the enemy, as starting way back in my early days of hockey. And in 2004, they were the enemy to me, because I wanted to see a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup. It's, in 2004, at that point, it's been 11 years since a team had won the Cup. And so I was really cheering hard for Calgary. And because of that run, and because I followed them that year in the playoffs, I started to watch the team quite a bit more in the following years. And then 2 years later, Edmonton kind of went on a run of its own. And again, the same thing happened. I really cheered for that Canadian team. So Calgary, to me, is always going to be the team in 2004 that I really cheered hard for. They were the underdog, in my opinion. And I just had a lot of fun cheering for the team. And if they went back to the playoffs deep now, I mean, we're 1993, 2020, it's been so long since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. If Calgary went deep, I would definitely cheer for them. Number 4, Jarome Iginla. Some players come and go on teams. You'll cheer for them for a little bit, but then they move on. They'll have an okay career somewhere else. But I think Iginla, to me, his heart, or maybe not his heart, but for me, in my heart, Jarome Iginla belongs in Calgary. Yeah, I know he went and he played with Colorado, and he played with Boston and Pittsburgh and a bunch of other teams. But to me, when I think of Jarome Iginla, I think the Calgary Flames jersey on him, or that logo on his chest. I don't really think of Iginla elsewhere, and I think Calgary fans were very disappointed when he parted ways, and I think they really missed him. And as a maybe non-Calgary Flames fan, just as a hockey fan, I really missed him in Calgary. When I think Calgary Flames, one of the names I think of is Jerome McGinley. He's one of the reasons why I do like the Calgary Flames. I'm like I said, I'm not a fan of the Calgary Flames, but you know, there's going to be scenarios where I definitely cheer for them. And I mean, Jerome McGinley was part of that reason back in the day. Number 5, goalies. Now, a lot of teams cycle through goalies just like they do players, just like Jerome McGinley. But when I think of the Calgary Flames, I mean, if you choose Carolina, are you going to be able to name like some iconic goalies from Carolina? Maybe a couple, but when you think Calgary Flames, you think names like Vernon and Trevor Kidd and Kiprasov. These are iconic goalies, and the teams in front of those goalies maybe weren't as good as those goalies that I just named, but those, you know, teams like the Montreal Canadiens, Carey Price, like that's a name that's going to be with the NHL forever. Even after Carey Price retires, people are still going to be saying the name Carey Price. You'll see him, you know, at events and all this stuff. The names like Kidd and Vernon and Kiprasov, although those players are long retired, those names have stuck with me as a hockey fan. And when I think about the Calgary Flames, those are the names that I think of. Those are the goalies that I think of, kind of like the players that I think of, like again in the last ones. So I've always really gravitated towards goalies, and teams who have iconic goalies, in my opinion, like the Calgary Flames. Those are just some of the names on the list that I could say to you guys. So yeah, that kind of wraps up my list. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I only have one video left to do in this series. Like I said at the beginning, the Vancouver Canucks, that is coming up soon. If you can leave me your 5 favorite things about the Calgary Flames down below, that would be awesome. I read all the comments. I hope you guys having an awesome day. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and click that bell notification icon too, so you can see every time I upload. So guys, hope you have an awesome day. Like I said, and I'll catch you in the next one. Adios.